Let me tell you about Officer Brennan Holloway and his German Shepherd Rex. This isn't just another airport security story. This is about betrayal, desperation, and a child's life hanging by a thread. Before we begin, tell us where you are watching from, and if this story touches your heart, please subscribe. Brennan had been working airport security for 7 years. Rex was his partner, his best friend, the dog who'd saved 3 lives during bomb threats and detected over 50 drug operations. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared them for what happened on that Tuesday morning in Terminal C. See, there was this man, Garrett Winslow, thin, nervous, eyes always darting. He'd been contacted 3 weeks before by people he'd never met, people who promised him $15,000 just to check in one suitcase and walk away. Garrett was drowning in debt after his mother's hospital bills piled up. The money felt like salvation. What Garrett didn't know was that suitcase contained something far worse than drugs or weapons. Inside, wrapped in blankets and sedated with chloroform-soaked rags, was a 4-year-old girl named Paisley Dumont. She'd been snatched from a grocery store parking lot 2 states away. Her parents were plastered on every news channel, begging for her return. The trafficking ring had planned everything perfectly. Airport security rarely opens checked luggage unless dogs signal threats. And most detection dogs are trained for explosives and narcotics, not human scent under heavy sedation. But Rex wasn't most dogs. Rex had been trained in search and rescue before joining the police force. His nose could detect human fear pheromones, stress sweat, even the faint smell of children through layers of fabric. When that gray suitcase rolled past him on the conveyor belt, Rex's entire body locked up. He smelled chloroform. He smelled a child's shallow breathing. He smelled terror trapped inside luggage. And he attacked. Not to destroy evidence. Not because of poor training. Because Rex understood something the officers couldn't see yet. There was a dying child suffocating inside that bag, and every second they wasted was one breath closer to her death. Garrett had been instructed to walk away after checking the bag. Just blend into the crowd, disappear into the city, collect his money from a dead drop location. He'd been told the suitcase contained sensitive documents for overseas clients. He believed it because he wanted to believe it, because admitting the truth meant admitting he'd helped kidnap a child. But when Rex's jaws clamped onto that suitcase, when officers swarmed and airport alarms screamed through the terminal, Garrett's carefully built lies shattered. His handlers had promised him safety. They'd promised anonymity. What they didn't promise was that a 4-pound nose and 60 pounds of loyal canine fury would unravel their entire operation in under 10 minutes. This is the story of how one dog's instinct, one officer's trust, and one criminal's conscience collided at 30,000 feet above sea level. The story of how Paisley Dumont went from being another missing child statistic to walking out of that airport alive. Because Rex didn't just detect a threat that morning. He rescued a guardian angel nobody knew was there. Rex's teeth sank into the gray suitcase with a force that made the conveyor belt shudder. The sound echoed through Terminal C like a gunshot. Passengers screamed. Coffee cups hit the floor. A woman grabbed her toddler and ran. Officer Brennan Holloway yanked the leash hard, his boots scraping against polished tile as he tried pulling Rex backward. "Release! Rex! Release now!" His voice cracked with confusion and fear. Rex had never, not once in 5 years, ignored a direct command. But Rex wasn't listening. His jaws tightened. His paws dug into the metal slats of the belt. Every muscle in his body screamed warning, protection, desperation. 3 officers sprinted toward them, radios crackling with panicked voices. Airport security slammed emergency buttons. The conveyor belt screeched, jolted, then stopped completely. Suitcases piled up behind the chaos like a traffic jam frozen in time. "What's happening?" Officer Thane shouted, breathless. "Is it a bomb?" "I don't know," Brennan yelled back. Sweat dripped down his temple. He's never done this before. Ever. Hey, before we continue, if you're loving this story, Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I love connecting with viewers from around the world. Now back to the story. Rex growled deep in his throat, the kind of sound that made people's skin crawl. Not aggression. Urgency. His ears pinned flat against his skull. His entire body trembled like he was holding back an earthquake. The suitcase shifted slightly under his grip. Rex's eyes went wide. He bit down harder, pulling the bag off the belt entirely. Crashed to the floor with a heavy thud. Passengers backed away in waves. Parents shielded children. Security guards formed a perimeter, hands hovering near their weapons. Nobody understood. Nobody could see what Rex saw, what Rex smelled, what Rex knew. "Get bomb squad here now," Officer Kendrick barked into his radio. "We have an uncontrolled K-9 situation. Possible explosive threat." But Brennan wasn't so sure anymore. He knelt beside Rex, studying the dog's posture. The way his body curved protectively over the suitcase, shielding it rather than destroying it. "You're not attacking," Brennan whispered, realization dawning cold in his chest. "You're protecting. What's inside, boy? What do you smell?" Rex's answer was another desperate growl. And somewhere inside that suitcase, beneath layers of fabric and evil intentions, Paisley Dumont took one shallow, sedated breath. The bomb squad arrived in full gear, helmets gleaming under fluorescent lights. Their boots thudded against the tile like war drums. Lead technician moved forward with a handheld scanner, waving it slowly toward the suitcase. Rex snarled immediately. His lips curled back, revealing every sharp tooth. The technician froze mid-step. "Control your dog, officer," he said firmly. "I'm trying," Brennan snapped, frustration bleeding into his voice. "He's not responding to anything." The scanner beeped. Once, twice, then silence. The technician frowned behind his visor. "No explosive residue detected. Whatever's inside, it's not a bomb." Relief rippled through the crowd like a wave. Some passengers laughed nervously. Others wiped tears from their eyes. But Rex didn't relax. Not even slightly. Officer Thane stepped closer, tilting his head. "If it's not a bomb, why is he acting like the world's ending?" "Heat signature," the technician muttered, checking his screen. "There's warmth inside. Inconsistent pattern. Could be electronic, but it's irregular. Almost like it's alive." Brennan finished, his stomach dropping. Everyone went silent. The word hung in the air like smoke. Alive. Not a device. Not drugs. Something living. Officer Kendrick's face paled. "You don't think someone smuggled an animal in there?" "Animals make noise," the technician said slowly. "This is silent. Completely silent." Brennan's mind raced through possibilities, each one worse than the last. His hand trembled as he reached out, fingers hovering inches from the suitcase's zipper. Rex barked sharply, snapping his attention back. Okay, Brennan murmured. "I hear you. I won't rush." The bomb squad exchanged glances. Their protocols were useless here. No explosives meant no immediate danger, but Rex's behavior suggested otherwise. Something was deeply, terribly wrong. "We need to find the owner," Officer Kendrick said. "Now." Airport security scrambled through their systems, fingers flying across keyboards. Screens flickered with passenger manifests, luggage tags, flight records. Minutes felt like hours as Rex continued his vigil, never once releasing his protective stance. Then a voice crackled through the radio. "We've got a match. Suitcase belongs to Garrett Winslow. Flight 72 from Berlin. He's still in the terminal." Brennan's jaw clenched. "Bring him here. Immediately." Within minutes, 2 security officers dragged a thin, pale man through the crowd. His clothes hung loose on his frame. His eyes darted everywhere except toward the suitcase. When he finally looked at Rex, his face drained of every drop of color. "Is this your luggage?" Brennan demanded, standing to his full height. Garrett's mouth opened, closed, opened again. I don't, maybe. Officer Thane's voice rose sharply. You checked it in 2 hours ago. I can't remember, Garrett stammered, backing away. But Rex's growl stopped him cold. The dog's eyes locked onto Garrett with an intensity that felt almost human. Accusing, knowing, and Garrett realized with creeping horror that whatever he'd helped smuggle into this airport, Rex had already figured it out. Garrett's hands shook violently. Sweat soaked through his shirt collar. He looked at the officers, then at Rex, then at the suitcase, and his face crumbled. They told me it was documents, he whispered, voice breaking. Sensitive files. That's all. I swear I didn't know. Didn't know what? Brennan stepped forward, his voice dangerously calm. What's inside? I don't know. Garrett's voice rose to a near scream. I was just supposed to check it in and walk away. They paid me $15,000. My mother needed surgery and I thought. Rex barked again, louder this time. The sound cut through Garrett's excuses like a blade. The man stumbled backward, nearly collapsing. Officer Kendrick grabbed Garrett's arm. Who paid you? Who gave you the suitcase? I don't know their names, Garrett sobbed. They contacted me online. Anonymous messages. Dead drop locations. They said if I asked questions, they'd kill me. The officers exchanged horrified looks. This wasn't simple smuggling. This was organized, professional, dangerous. We're opening it, the bomb squad technician announced. Slowly, carefully, everyone stepped back. But Rex refused to move. His body pressed against the suitcase like a shield, protecting it from any sudden movements. Brennan knelt beside him again, placing both hands on Rex's trembling shoulders. I know you're scared, Brennan said softly. I know something's wrong, but we need to see inside. We need to help whatever you're protecting. Rex's eyes met Brennan's. For one heartbreaking moment, the dog's expression shifted from warning to pleading. Trust me, those eyes seemed to say. Trust what I know. Brennan nodded slowly. Okay, boy, we do this together. He reached for the zipper with trembling fingers. Rex didn't growl this time, didn't snap. He simply watched, body tense, ready to react if danger emerged. The zipper teeth separated slowly. Click, click, click. Each sound echoed through the silent terminal. Officers leaned forward. The bomb squad held their breath. Passengers craned their necks from behind the barricades. Brennan pulled back the suitcase's top flap. Gray fabric parted. Darkness inside. And then he saw it. Tiny hand. Small fingers curled into a loose fist. Skin pale, almost blue. Not moving. Brennan's heart stopped. Oh God, no. He ripped the suitcase open completely. Inside, wrapped in blankets and barely breathing, was a little girl, maybe 4 years old. Her face was slack, eyes closed, lips tinged with purple. A chloroform-soaked rag lay crumpled beside her head. Medic! Officer Thane roared, his voice cracking with rage and horror. We need medics now. Brennan lifted the child carefully, feeling her faint heartbeat against his chest. She was limp, unresponsive, her small body cold to the touch. Rex whimpered, pressing his nose against her hand as if trying to wake her. Garrett collapsed to his knees, hands covering his face. No. No. They said documents. They said it was documents. You helped kidnap a child, Officer Kendrick snarled, grabbing Garrett by the collar. You put her in a suitcase like cargo. Paramedics sprinted forward with a stretcher and oxygen mask. They took the girl from Brennan's arms, their hands moving with practiced urgency. One checked her pulse while another cleared her airway. She's breathing, but barely, the lead medic said grimly. Chloroform poisoning. Possible asphyxiation. We need to move now. As they rushed her toward the ambulance, Rex followed, limping slightly but refusing to leave her side. His tail hung low, his eyes never leaving the small figure on the stretcher. And in that moment, everyone in Terminal C understood exactly what Rex had been trying to tell them all along. The ambulance doors slammed shut. Sirens wailed to life, cutting through the shocked silence of the terminal. Brennan stood frozen, staring at his hands, at the spot where he'd held that tiny, barely breathing child. Officer Thane grabbed Garrett roughly, slamming him against a support beam. "Who did you give that suitcase to? Who was supposed to pick it up?" "I don't know," Garrett screamed. "It was all online. Encrypted messages. I never saw their faces." "Give me your phone," Officer Kendrick demanded, hand outstretched. "Now." Garrett fumbled in his pocket, pulling out a cracked smartphone with shaking hands. Kendrick snatched it, scrolling through messages, his face darkening with each screen. "Call FBI," Kendrick said quietly, his voice tight with controlled rage. "This is human trafficking. International operation. We've got communication records, flight manifests, and a live witness." Garrett sobbed openly now, sinking to the ground. "I didn't know. I swear on my mother's grave I didn't know." "Your mother needed surgery?" Brennan's voice was cold, empty. "That little girl might not make it to her 5th birthday because of your choices." The words hit Garrett like physical blows. He curled into himself, shoulders shaking with the weight of what he'd done. Meanwhile, Rex paced near the terminal exit, whining softly. His entire body language screamed anxiety, worry, the kind dogs show when their pack member is in danger. Brennan walked over and knelt beside him. "You saved her," Brennan whispered, running his hand along Rex's back. "Whatever happens now, you gave her a chance. You're a hero." Rex looked up at him with exhausted eyes. Then, as if all his energy had drained away, the dog collapsed against Brennan's side, panting heavily. "I've got you, buddy," Brennan murmured. "I've got you." Airport security began reviewing camera footage, tracking every person who'd come within 10 feet of Garrett since he'd entered the building. FBI agents were already en route, scrambling to intercept anyone connected to the trafficking network. Officer Thane approached Brennan, his expression grim. "Medics just radioed. She's critical but stable. They're running her fingerprints now through missing persons databases." "She's someone's daughter," Brennan said quietly. "Someone who's been praying for this exact moment." Within 20 minutes, the identification came through. Paisley Dumont, age 4, kidnapped 6 days ago from a grocery store in Ohio. Her parents had been on every news channel, pleading for her safe return. "Contact the family," Kendrick ordered. "Tell them we found her. Tell them she's alive." As officers made the call, Brennan sat on the floor beside Rex, both of them drained, both of them processing the horror they just uncovered. Around them, the airport slowly returned to normal. Flights resumed. Passengers moved through security. Life continued. But inside Terminal C, nothing would ever feel normal again. 3 hours later, Brennan and Rex sat in the airport security office, surrounded by FBI agents, detectives, and crisis counselors. The story was piecing itself together through interrogations, phone records, and Garrett's broken confessions. The trafficking ring had been operating for 2 years, moving children across borders through checked luggage. Sedated, hidden, treated like cargo. Paisley was the 17th child they'd attempted to smuggle. 12 had made it through successfully before Rex changed everything. "Your dog just destroyed an entire criminal network," FBI agent Morris said, crouching beside Rex to scratch behind his ears. "We're tracking down every member now. This is the break we needed." Brennan felt no pride, only exhaustion. "What about Paisley?" "She's responding to treatment," Mora replied. "Doctors say another 30 minutes in that suitcase and she wouldn't have made it. The chloroform levels in her system were dangerously high." Brennan closed his eyes. 30 minutes. That's how close they'd been to losing her forever. Rex whimpered softly, his head resting on Brennan's lap. The dog hadn't eaten, hadn't drunk water, hadn't relaxed since the ambulance left. He was waiting to know if his efforts had mattered. Then Brennan's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered cautiously. Holloway. Officer Holloway? A woman's voice, thick with tears. This is Rebecca Dumont, Paisley's mother. Brennan's throat tightened. Mom. They told me what your dog did, Rebecca sobbed. They told me he saved my baby. I can't find the words. You don't have to, Brennan said quietly, his own eyes burning. Rex was just doing his job. Rebecca's voice strengthened. He was being an angel. My daughter's guardian angel. When she wakes up, when she's strong enough, I want to meet him. I want her to know the dog who refused to let her die. Brennan looked down at Rex, whose tired eyes blinked slowly. We'll be there, ma'am, whenever you're ready. After the call ended, Brennan sat in silence, processing everything. Around him, agents bustled with paperwork, evidence bags, and arrest warrants. But none of it mattered compared to one simple truth. Rex had trusted his instincts when human technology failed. Rex had protected an innocent life when trained protocols fell short. Rex had been exactly what that little girl needed in her darkest moment. A guardian angel wrapped in fur. Officer Thane knocked on the doorframe. Media's outside. They want a statement. Want photos of Rex. Brennan shook his head. Not today. Today we rest. Fair enough. Thane smiled slightly. For what it's worth, you two did something incredible. As the sun set outside the terminal windows, Brennan loaded Rex into their patrol vehicle. The dog curled up in his designated spot, finally allowing his body to relax. Brennan started the engine but didn't drive immediately. He sat there, hands on the steering wheel, thinking about all the times people dismissed animal instincts as random behavior. About all the times protocol overrode gut feelings. About how close they'd been to tragedy because humans couldn't see what Rex understood instantly. Good boy, Brennan whispered. You're such a good boy. Rex's tail thumped twice against the seat. Weak, exhausted but alive. Just like Paisley Dumont. Just like all the children who would never enter suitcases again because Rex had broken the pattern. Brennan pulled out of the parking lot, heading home. Behind them, Terminal C's lights glittered in the rearview mirror. Ahead, the road stretched dark and quiet. But somewhere in a hospital room, Paisley Dumont's heart beat steady and strong. Her parents held her small hands. Doctors monitored her recovery. And in her sedated dreams, maybe, just maybe, she felt the warm press of a dog's nose against her fingers, telling her she was safe now, that her guardian angel had found her.